Thank you guys so much for joining me today. My name is Marv. I am the host of this channel. I am the host of the State of the USMNT, and thank you guys so much for joining the show today. Now, today we're going to be talking about Greg Berhalter's press conference after the Panama game. We're going to be listening to his sorry-ass excuses, what he had to say, what he thought he saw, basically what his response is to this crap of a game, okay? That's what we're going to be responding to. And I want to see if these reporters are going to ask him the juicy questions. I want to see if these reporters are going to throw the fastball at him. I haven't seen this interview at all. I just want to see somebody put this guy on the spot and this guy just basically just blink out because he doesn't know the answer to it. They just don't do that. So we're going to be checking that out. And overall, just going to be looking at his body language, what type of response he has for, you know, the questions that are thrown at him. We're not going to be too hard on the guy today because, well, obviously look at him. He looks sad already as it is. Poor guy. I feel bad for him. I mean, so much talent and just doesn't know what to do with it. Calls up the talent, but leaves it rotting on the bench. As a matter of fact, since I got Greg right here in front of me, let me just ask him a couple questions here. He might not even know the answer to them. These questions might be so difficult for him that he probably won't respond, but let's take a gander here. Hey, Greg, now my question to you is, why did you feel the take two here? Sorry, guys. I couldn't take the guy serious. But my question to you, Greg, is why did you feel the need to remove Yunus Musa, your only attacking mid, your only driving force down the midfield, the only player that was attacking Panama basically down the gut? Why did you feel the need to remove him and to incorporate a player like Adams when you could have just simply incorporated Adams for Acosta and brought in, obviously, Luca De La Torre for Lletget and left on Yunus? Why did you feel the need to do that? And that's what I expected. Poor guy. Anyways, guys, let's get into the giveaway real quick, and then we're going to get into the video. We're going to get into the reaction of the press conference. Quick alert here, guys. The giveaway is still going on. We're still giving away that jersey and that copy of FIFA 2022. All you got to do to enter is hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, hit the comment section, share the content, and follow us on our socials. If you do all that, you're in it to win it. And we are going to be announcing the winner after the World Cup qualifier window ends, potentially in a week and a half. So be ready for that. Follow us on our socials because we are going to announce the winner there as well. And one last thing, guys, the main goal is obviously for the U.S. to reach the World Cup, to be at Qatar when the World Cup kicks off there. That's what we want. That is the main goal on site for all of us, right? For all U.S. fans. But we do obviously have another goal on this channel as well, guys. And that goal is for us to hit 1,000 subs, to hit 1K subs. And we are very close, all thanks to you guys. We need one small push, one final push to give us that final boost to get over that hill and finally reach 1,000 subs. And you guys are the people to do it. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it coming. Keep those subscriptions coming, man. We definitely appreciate it. And it's going to go a long way for this channel. We definitely want to build this channel into something big, somewhere you guys can come and just hang out and talk and just get away a little bit, right? That's the main goal. So keep smashing the like button, guys. Keep hitting that subscribe button. You guys are doing a great job. And remember, road to Qatar, baby, and road to 1K subs. Let's go. All right, guys. So I'm going to be sharing my screen with you. 1, 2, 3. Bam. I'm hoping it's there. If it's not, it's due to technical difficulties, but I highly doubt that. We don't deal with type of stuff like that here, with that type of stuff. Anyways, let's continue. Now, what's going to happen here is Greg's going to be asked a couple questions, and he's obviously going to give his stupid answers, and we're going to listen to it, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts after his answer and kind of just give you my opinion on what I think, what I thought, what I saw, what he should have done, okay? Basically, that's it. And we're probably going to have a laugh while we're doing it, but we're going to try to take it easy on this poor fella. Obviously, he's been through a lot these past 48 hours, and if he doesn't step it up against Costa Rica, it's going to be a long week for this guy. So let's go. Let's try to take it easy on this guy.
On a day that I think, or it was clear we didn't have our best stuff, you know, it was the hope that we get out of there with a point, and you know, disappointed to give up a goal the way we did, and lose the game. You know, it's a typical CONCACAF game, very physical, very aggressive. And I think we came up short in a number of areas. So it's about rebounding, focusing on the game on Wednesday in Columbus, and, you know, having a positive game there and getting 3 points.
We'll start with questions and begin with Stephen Goff from the Washington Post.
The guy hoped to get out of there with 1 point. It seems to me that he came to play for 1 point. and the guy left with 0. You don't come to a game and hope to get a point. You come to get 3 points. You instill that mentality into your players, right? You come in and you say, guys, we're riding a 2-game high. Panama just lost. They're against the ropes. They're going to be aggressive. We got to use that aggressiveness against them. Allow them to come. Let them pour the pressure. We're gonna absorb it, and then we're going to hit them. We're going to beat them after. That's what you need to do. But you don't come in here, and granted, it's easier said than done. The way I said it sounds very easy, but obviously it's a little tougher than that, right? But you have to have a clear game plan, and this guy just came with none. Let's go. I mean, the guy doesn't even want to answer questions. You could just tell he's frightened. He's like, oh geez, like they're just gonna nail me. They're gonna nail me. I wish they would have nailed him, but whatever.
Hey, Greg, thanks for your time. Talk through the decision in this congested window to go with a mostly new lineup, and some of the decisions you made specifically with this new lineup.
Yeah, so Stephen, looking at the game on Thursday in Austin, and then the travel, and then what we were going to be dealing with here, the conditions, we wanted to get fresh guys on the field. You saw some of the guys that played in the game in Austin, had a difficult time bringing the intensity that we needed. So we're hoping with this lineup that we're going to get mobility, and we didn't play our best. We didn't. We had a number of guys that performed below the expectations, and that's part of it. It's a young group. It's about learning, regrouping, and going from here.
I'm not against bringing in fresh legs and keeping players fresh, because I definitely understand the fact that you're playing 3 games in a very short, tight window. Okay, I understand that. Duly noted. The problem I have here, guys, is the fact that he just didn't bring in 1 or 2 or 3 players into that base starting 11, right? He switched the whole team, the whole unit, the whole starting 11 was swapped. Obviously, you guys saw that. I mean, against Jamaica, I thought we played a pretty damn good game, right? We had a base starting 11, Adams, Musa, Pepe, Aronson, Miles Robinson, Serginho Dest, Turner. That's a good base to start with. Then you can sprinkle your elements here and there, different types of prospects, right, to your liking. But that's what you start with. That's what you start with. I mean, granted, you want to keep players fresh, but Adams proved to you in the previous World Cup qualifier window that he could go 3 games, 90 minutes complete. And I understand you don't want to play him that much, but the guy has fresh legs. I mean, hasn't really been playing a lot for RB Leipzig, so he could have been a player you plugged in. Luca De La Torre could have been a player you plugged in, right? My question to you is, why go with players that you know, that you've seen? They're proven commodities, and they're limited. This is their bar. And you have players in the bench rotting away that are up here already surpassing the bar that these players that started are at. I mean, are light years away. Why not start those young players that are looking better, are looking more promising, are unproven commodities, are basically stones that are unturned? You don't know what you have in a Busio. You don't know what you have in a Luca De La Torre. Bring them in, incorporate them, let them play. But we've seen the likes of Zardes. We've seen the likes of Areola time after time. We know what we get out of them. We know what we get out of Leggett. We know what we get out of Roldan. That's what frustrates me the most as well. The fact that he changed the whole starting 11, and the fact that he's just continuously giving chances to players that are proven commodities and that are limited, and not giving enough chances to players that are unproven commodities and have higher ceilings. That's the problem I have with Berhalter. But with that being said, let's continue this press conference, guys.
Both Tyler and Matt said just the intensity of the team wasn't there, especially in the first half. Given you started talking about the need for intensity from the post-game address to the players the other night, and pretty much every day you mentioned it, how does something like that happen?
It's sports. It's humans. There's no, I think, one explanation for it, but our distances were too far. We didn't have that pop. We didn't have the legs that we needed, and we suffered for it. We weren't great in duels. You know, Panama, we talked about being a very physical team, very difficult team to break down, and that's exactly what they were. And you need quick ball movement. We need guys getting on the ball, moving them around. We just didn't do that enough. So to me, you know, there's that intensity side of it, and it wasn't through a lack of trying. I think it was a lack of, I don't know, but it wasn't a lack of trying. It was just we didn't have that 100% today. And then the playing side of it needs to be better. You know, we were poor. We were really poor with our passing and some of our movement.
We'll go to Brian.
When I look at this guy, I get this arrogant feeling like he's above everybody. Like you can't touch me, regardless of what I do, regardless of what starting 11 I put, regardless of the stupid scheme I have. You know, it just seems he looks like the type of guy that can't be touched. And granted, I understand he feels backed up. Obviously, he has connections up in the top. Obviously, in my opinion, that's why he got the job to begin with.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Brian.
Just curious if you could elaborate a little more on what sort of posture or approach you wanted to see from that starting 11. Obviously, I understand the decisions you make over the course of 3 games in 7 days, but from that specific group and those specific players, you know, front foot, direct play, winning duel, whatever it was you wanted to see from them and maybe didn't get. And how much was just the humidity and the conditions a factor? I mean, it was brutal just sitting there watching. I'm just curious how the guys, whether they suffered through that or whether it wasn't that noticeable.
No, it was big. You know, it's not something, you know, you don't want to give them an out and you don't want to, you know, make an excuse. But I think that had a factor. That was a factor. You know, you were there, you know what it was like. But again, the other team had to plan it also. So like that can't be the starting point for why we didn't play well in this game. So fundamentally, we talked about using our 2 center backs plus our center mid to bypass their front strikers. We needed help from our attacking mids to get the ball to the other side of the field. We wanted to overlap with our fullbacks and arrive in the penalty box with our forward and weak side winger. Unfortunately, you know, the quality wasn't high enough in the final ball when we did get in those positions. I think the ability for our players to turn and play forward was lacking today. And overall, again, we performed below the expectations that we have for ourselves. And, you know, that's part of it. You know, it's a game, and sometimes it doesn't go your way. And now, for us, it's about, again, regrouping and focusing on Wednesday and having a good performance and good end to this window.
Funny how the reporter talked about the weather and it being a problem potentially. Greg goes on to admit that there was some weather difficulties, obviously some humidity, but then he says that he doesn't want to look at that as why they kind of lost the game, right? Doesn't want to pinpoint that reason. Yet he's bringing it up and talking about it as well and accepting the fact that it was humid. So maybe he is trying to use that as an excuse or not. I don't know. Now, look, he's also talking about how his midfielders did not find a way to turn around and create opportunities. Well, yeah, it's obvious, buddy. You took out Yunus Musa, the only guy that was doing that. The only guy that was doing that in the first half. You took him out and you bring in a Tyler Adams, who's a center defensive mid, who in my opinion is not the best going forward. I mean, I don't know if this guy doesn't comprehend that. I don't understand if he knows the difference between an attacking mid, a center mid, and a center defensive mid. I truly don't understand. And if he doesn't, please somebody in his coaching staff go in there and teach this guy what the difference is, because this guy thinks that Lletget can be an attacking mid. I mean, last time after time, I would see Lletget receive the ball and his body language was already resorting to him passing it backwards. I mean, before he even passed it, I would just see his body language leaning towards the back line, and just that's what he did. Pass to the back, pass to the back. You want to get offensive, you want to go forward, you leave a player like Yunus Musa, who showed you in the Jamaica game that he can get forward, he can attack the spine of the defense, and then you accompany him with a Luca De La Torre who can do that exactly the same, as equally as talented as Yunus Musa, in my opinion, going forward, attacking the defense. That's what you do. If you want to get forward, that's what you do very easily. You sprinkle those type of players. You remove a Lletget or an Acosta, and you bring in a Luca De La Torre. Easy. You solve that. And like I mentioned, the guy just looks like an arrogant punk. I don't mean to bash on the guy, you know. These are his opinions. These are his thoughts, genuinely. But someone needs to get this guy off his high horse, because it looks like he just doesn't care about anybody's opinions or anybody's thoughts or what anybody has to say. But let's continue, guys.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
I totally get the need to make changes in the starting lineup. There were 3 particular players I wanted to ask you about, though, because I thought it was interesting that they weren't in the lineup. A guy like Tyler Adams, who has a big engine, and then Aronson and Pepe came off early in the last game. What went to deciding not to start those 3 guys in particular?
So part of it was we can bring them on the field. With 5 subs, you can have some planned substitutes, you know, and basically we looked at Brendan and Paul as one player, and we said we're going to use 90 minutes with those 2 players.
I'm sorry to interrupt in the middle of the interview, but did he say that Aronson and Arriola, they see them as the same players? Did he really just say that? Jeez. I mean, in my opinion, they're not the same players. I'm not going to say anything else, but they're not the same players. Arriola, nothing against the guy. Very serviceable. High work rate. High engine. High motor. Very fast, although not as fast as he used to be. Very good at the defensive work rate, at creating, at going forward in the final third. Very limited, okay? Brendan Aronson, on the other hand, same thing. Very high motor, a lot of energy, very fast. Defensively, okay. Offensively, skillful, technical. Has the potential to be a star. Very different. I get what he's trying to say. What he's trying to say, I'm pretty sure, is that they run a lot, they have work ethic, they have high work rate, right? That's what he probably means. But they're not the same player, man. And you need to understand that. You need to comprehend that, Berhalter, that they're not the same player.
Something very similar with Tyler. We wanted him to play 45 minutes because of his load. And, you know, the other thing to keep in mind, Grant, is prior to this camp, you know, Tyler hasn't been playing regularly for his team. He had a little bit of injury. He was in and out of the lineup. So now to ask a player who hasn't had any load or much load in the last 3 weeks to go play 390s, I wasn't comfortable with it. And I'll take responsibility for that. But the good thing is, you know, he'll be ready to go against Costa Rica, and he should have full power for that game.
Once again, I understand his form of thinking. Oh, well, Tyler Adams hasn't been playing a lot, was injured. To have him play 30 minutes, it's kind of hard, right? Well, you know what, sir? These are the World Cup qualifiers. Your players come in to play for you. I understand you're gonna take care of them. That's your job as well. But they need to go out there and perform. They need to go out there and play. If they could go, put them in. I mean, Tyler Adams came in the second half against Panama, right? Okay, why not play him the first 45 minutes instead? Basically, I'm resorting to start your best team, your best starting 11, right? Brought in Pepe. Why not start Pepe in the first 45 minutes? Brought in Aronson. Why not start Aronson in the first 45 minutes, then take him off? Have that impact first in the first half, and then bring in your subs accordingly, the way you see fit. But start the game fast with your initial starting 11, your base starting 11. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't want to sound like a broken record, but that's how you start. In my opinion, you don't come out here with the full different squad and then just try to sprinkle in your starters here and there so they can impact the game on different occasions. No, you want to have your base team immediately and make an impact from the beginning. Then, like I said, you can just adjust accordingly. But this guy switched. I mean, his brain is switched the other way. You know, start off slow, then finish fast. It should be start off fast, then finish strong.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Greg. You mentioned in your earlier remarks that you were hoping to get out of there with a point. So were these lineup changes a bit of a calculated risk in terms of reaching that end? And as a follow-up, your press tonight seemed kind of out of sync. You know, why was that?
Yeah, it was. And that's why we switched the second half in a 4-4-2, and it was much better in the second half.
It wasn't
the
better.
Distances. You know, again, you know, we didn't have the pop that we needed to press. We realized that, and we had to pull back. I think once we did that, we were much more compact.
No, you weren't.
And it gave us better opportunities in the game.
No, you didn't.
What I meant by getting out of there with a point is seeing how our performance was in the first half and seeing how the game was going. You know, we made some adjustments, and we're hoping to get some momentum. But when the game keeps going along,
like I mentioned, guys, try to use his subs to change the game for him instead of resorting to a schematic way. Instead of resorting to a schematic advantage, he just threw his subs out there to try to find a way for them to impact the game positively, and it didn't happen.
At a certain point, you're like, okay, if we get out of here with a point, we'll be doing okay based on everything. And unfortunately, we didn't do that. But to be clear, the mindset.
I'm going to stop him here. I don't even want to hear him anymore. It says that he wanted to leave with the point. He'd be happy with that, right? Goes to show that the guy's mentality from the get-go was to play for a point. That's what it was. Now, whatever he says after this, there are going to be a bunch of excuses. That's what I think.
Prior to the game was not, to play for a point. We wanted to win the game. We put a lineup on the field that we thought could win the game. We just didn't do it.
What lineup was that? What lineup did he put out there that could win the game? Let me ask this. What lineup, Greg? What lineup did he put out there that could win the game for you? Huh? This lineup never started together ever. You expect them to gel and build chemistry in an overnight? Like, do you expect that? Do you expect this starting 11 that's probably never played a minute together come out here and win a game for you? Jeez, this guy, honestly.
Go to Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Greg, I know you've talked about kind of this team being a young team and giving them these experiences. They can only learn how to deal with it when you throw them out there. But how do you talk to that group about what was lacking tonight, some of the guys who you gave that chance to step up? And do you think it kind of even makes you rethink about how much you can rotate without losing some of the guys that you can count on for a certain level of performance every game?
No, listen, I don't.
You can just see how annoyed he is. Just how annoyed this guy is. Look, by the end of the question, check it out.
And how to deal with it when you
scrubbing his head.
But how
body
do you
language.
talk to that group about what was lacking tonight? Some of the guys who you gave that chance to step up, and do you think it kind of even makes you rethink about how much you can rotate without losing some of the guys that you can count on for
already
a certain
flustered
level of performance every game?
No, listen, I don't think, we shouldn't harp on age. I think the starting lineup of last game was probably younger than this one. So like, and there we played great and everyone was happy and it's the best, best we play. It's all about what narrative you want to spin and what you're comfortable with. We know we're playing in extreme heat, extreme humidity.
Bro, what extreme heat? What are you playing in Palm Springs? What extreme heat? Humidity, okay, I understand, but heat?
God. We know we traveled 4.5.
The guy said he didn't want to use the heat, the elements, as an excuse, yet he's resorting to it in this question, guys.
Hi, Greg. I want to ask you about the lack of control in the midfield, because we talked before the game.
That's a good question.
About the role that need the midfielder to take in the 4-3-3 playing an away game. And I wonder if you get the chance to see the goal, the Panama goal, and if you have some remark about that set piece.
No, I mean, I watched it during the game again, and it's a ball that I think we can defend. I think we can do better on, and unfortunately we didn't. You don't normally expect to give up a goal on a ball like that, but give them credit. They were whipping balls into the penalty box on their corners. They did a good job in that. But what you said, I think, is Daniel, was important. We didn't have control of midfield, and that really hurt us in that game. I'm going to look at the touches that our midfielders had individually, but it was nowhere near what we expect. Distances were too big.
He talks about how the midfield was ineffective, yet he continues to play the same players that are continuously being ineffective, like a Sebastian Lletget, which I don't mean to bash on. Poor guy. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. He's not technical. Okay, he's all right. I'll be honest. He's serviceable. But Berhalter keeps putting him in positions where we just got to keep bashing on the guy, because Berhalter continues to think that Lletget is that technical player that can push the ball down the field. And yes, he can push down the ball down the field, but the opposite way, towards the defense, not the forwards. And that's what I'm saying. This all falls under his shoulders. This is all under the coach, in that you have to put the best players out there to compete, to not have to answer questions like these at the end of the day, right? That all falls under him. Lletget's not starting himself. Acosta's not starting himself, right? Arriola's not starting himself. Berhalter continues to put that lineup out there. That is a problem. right? I wouldn't mind if Arriola or Leggett came off the bench. I truly wouldn't, because yeah, like I said, they're serviceable players. They could come in 75th minute and have an impact, a positive impact. I'll be honest. I'll raise and I'll test to that, right? But from the get-go, from the start, they're not an impact player. If anything, instead of setting the tempo upward, it's a stagnant tempo from the get-go. And that's what happens when you continue to play players that are not technical, that cannot vibe, that cannot gel with other players that are good around them. It's a proven point, and it's a proven fact, and we see it time after time, and that's why I think a lot of the fan base is very upset with this guy.
Thank you, Michael, and thanks as always, Greg, for the time.
You bet, Jonathan.
On the subject of the lineup rotation tonight, it was a lot of changes, not even just individually.
It's a good question.
It was a large number of changes.
Yep.
And understanding the depth that's required to go through a 3-game window in a week and all that, was it maybe just too much change?
I think the way to look at it, and this is how I looked at it, and you know, now it obviously doesn't look like the best choice, but I think we have to wait till Thursday, because if we would have played the same players from the last game, first of all, 2 of them weren't even here, so that was going to be impossible. But if we would have played the same players in the same game, in this game, I'm not sure we would position ourselves in the best way to win again on Wednesday.
So since this is the final question, I'm going to break it up into segments here, but I don't think this guy is comprehending what the deal is here. And at least I can speak for myself, guys. The problem here is not the fact that he's starting, or he didn't start the same players he started against Jamaica. That's not the problem. At least that's not what I see. My problem here is start the best players you have available. Granted, I understand McKinney was out with the quad injury. Eunice started. Okay. Why couldn't you start an Adams? That's what I'm trying to refer to, right? Oh, do you want to rest Adams because you think he's going to get hurt, or you don't want to overuse him? Well, then incorporate a Busio, because we know Busio could play that 6 role. Okay, right? Or you know what? Actually start an Acosta. That's fine. But instead of starting a Leggett, you start a Luca de la Torre. That's what we're trying to say. At least that's what I'm trying to say, in my opinion, guys. You don't necessarily need to start the same people, the same players every single game. Start the best players that are going to give you the best result. That's what I'm trying to say. And we already know what we can get out of a Leggett. We already know what we're going to get out of Acosta. We already know what we're going to get out of a Arriola, a Zimmerman. Try somebody else. See what they can give you. And we know what Luka can give us, and we definitely know what Adams and Musa can give us in the midfield. That's what we're saying. But let's continue.
It's a, you know, again, the conditions that we're dealing with here, with the travel, with the weather, made it complicated.
Doesn't want to use the weather as an excuse, but this is like the third question he brings up the weather in his answer. I mean, the elements, in my opinion, I don't think they were that much of a factor. I understand humidity, but I mean, continuously brings up the humidity, the elements, and I don't know. In my opinion, this guy's just full of boatload of excuses.
And
that's
we
what I
had
hear.
to make, you know, I guess, a somewhat risky decision. And the good thing is we're still in second place, right? That's the good thing.
So the good thing is that we're still in second place, guys. That's the good thing. I mean, this guy looks like the type of guy that when he played sports at a young age, he was the type of kid to cry for not receiving a trophy, and they would give him a trophy. Complacent. That's what he sounds. Sounds like a complacent kid. A complacent adult, a guy that's like, we took an L, but we're still in second place. We're still in a good spot. It's not about looking at it that way. It's about looking at it this way. You got to come out. You got to try to give it to every single opponent every single time whenever you have the opportunity. Your mentality should come out to get the 3 points, to get the W, not to get a tie, or not to escape a game with players healthy and you know, you're watching over the players. I understand that's your job. You got to take care of your players. You got to keep them healthy. But like you mentioned, injuries are part of a game. You got to find a way to give the U.S. an advantage from the get-go. Because in my opinion, we can get the advantage. We're very damn talented. We have a lot of players that can definitely give us the advantage 1v1 on the field. The only thing that's setting us back is this guy. That's what I see.
We have the most goals scored, and one.
Did this guy just say we have the most goals scored? Jesus. What do goals have to do with anything? I understand they win you games, but what do goals have to do with you losing this game against Panama? You didn't score a goal against Panama. So you shouldn't even be talking about goals. As a matter of fact, we didn't even have a goal opportunity. Don't mean to sound negative, but that's reality, guys. And this guy's over here talking about we have the most goals scored. Who cares about that? I want the most points. I want the most points. That's what I want. I mean, if you have 4 goals and we have 13 points, hey, I'm good with that, right? But
one of the most goals, one of the least amount of goals allowed.
And he's worried about the goals allowed as well. So the guy's worried about the stats, right? I guess stats. If he was so worried about stats, then he should be looking at the players like Areola, who in my opinion have no stats. Player like Leggett, who in my opinion have no stats. And bring in players that do have stats, like Bucio, like Luca De La Torre, right? Like a Tim Weah. All right, guys, that's going to be the video. Now, basically what I took from this is just a bunch of excuses, a lot of things that made no sense to me. And I'm basically where I kind of woke up this morning. You know, I was kind of expecting to wake up, listen to this, and hear something positive. Hear, hey, you know what? We dropped the ball, guys. We're figuring out what went wrong. We're going to fix it, and we're going to adjust to that. And we're going to put a scheme in. We're going to adjust it to the way we like it to help us win games in the future, moving forward. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear him owning up, but instead I hear him talking about I mean, in my opinion, guys, I heard him blame the elements more than he blamed himself, right? Usually, I mean, coaches are like, you know, it's on me, it's on me, it's on me. Everything, if it went bad, it's on me, right? But instead, oh, the elements, the players, we weren't connecting passes. We weren't doing this right. It was humid. The heat. I mean, the guy talked about the heat like if it was Death Valley, for crying out loud. And I understand there's a lot of people backing this guy up because obviously he's won 2 trophies and he's won like 13 games or 14 games in the past 2 years or something like that. But who cares? Those games to me are meaningless. The games that matter to me are these. I don't care if the guy won 10 friendly games. I want the guy to win World Cup qualifier games. I want the guy to win games that matter. And these are the games that matter. And right now, yeah, we are in second place, and that's something to be happy about. And I'll be honest, that has me at peace. At least that does. But the way this guy's just, the way he's responding, the way he's just holding himself up, making it seem like it's everybody else except for him. I mean, I understand he did blame himself a couple times, but blamed other things more than he did himself. And when you have a coach like that, you're not going to go anywhere because this guy's not going to learn from his mistakes. He's not going to change anything. He thinks he's right. He thinks he's not doing anything wrong, and that's not the case. And yeah, granted, I understand we are in second place, but we're in second place, in my opinion, not because of this guy, because of the players, because of the talent we have, alone just by that. I want to see a little bit more drive, a little bit more urgency. We'll see. We'll see if we get that against Costa Rica. Costa Rica played a damn good game against El Salvador. I think won that game. They were losing 1-0, came back and won that game. So Costa Rica is waking up a little bit. And if we're not ready, if we come in like this tomorrow, we open up like this, flat, no energy, no urgency, the same thing's going to happen. The same thing's going to happen, and we're gonna try to find a way to sprinkle in some subs to win the game at the end, right? Nah, I don't know. But yeah, that's it, guys. Overall, we are in second place. Let's look at that and kind of take a sigh of relief. But let's look at Berhalter and let's continue let's pressure these people, man. Let's pressure this guy. Let's smash the like button on this video so it reaches this guy or reaches somebody or gets this guy's attention. That way they know that we're listening, that we're paying attention, and that we want change if things ain't going good. Right now, things are iffy, but if we drop the ball against Costa Rica, things need to change, and this guy definitely needs to be fired. Even aside from that, even if he wins the game, I mean, things are still iffy. Aside from that, let me know if you guys enjoy this type of video. If you guys like these type of videos, I will definitely do more in the future. I just kind of want to try this out to see what you guys thought about it, and just to give you my thoughts about Greg Berhalter's answers via his press conference and what I thought about him, and basically his body language and what I think he should be doing and changing. But aside from that, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.